Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Yevamot page 84, which introduces us to a new chapter, which seemingly doesn't have many new concepts, but really a lot of the things that we've been discussing up until this time. And it discusses different categories. There are some times in which a husband and wife are allowed to be married to one another. However, if let's say the man would die, she would not be able to do Yibum because there's something forbidden about the brother. And it's possible the other way around, that maybe there is something wrong with the marriage, that it really wouldn't be a valid marriage, but if the man would die, that she would technically still be able to do Yibum. And it goes through all these cases, and again, a lot of them are quite self-explanatory. I'll just share the first one. You have a case of a regular Kohen, and he marries an almana. He marries a widow. Now, a regular Kohen, as we've seen so many times, is allowed to marry a widow, and therefore that marriage is fine. However, if let's say he would die childless, so she would be going to perform Yibum with the brother. But it says, what if the brother's a Kohen Gadol, a high priest? Well, if he's a high priest, we know that he's not allowed to marry a widow. He's not allowed to. Only a regular Kohen is allowed. A Kohen Gadol is not allowed. So that's an example of it's allowed by the marriage, but not for the brother. And again, these are seemingly things that we should already know, unless we just started learning Yevamot here on page 84. But if you've been learning all along, a lot of this is really quite repetitive. And this is not my thoughts. This is the thought of Tosfos on this page. Tosfos actually says that this is actually the way how the author of the Mishnah operates. He goes at great length, explaining in detail all the laws, and then afterwards he'll repeat it in a much more concise framework, making it much more simple because you've already learned it in depth, and now it's just reviewing it. Why? So Tosfos explains the logic behind this. The reason is Kedei shehu mesudorim biodecha, so the learning should be literally in your hands, ushmurim b'peh ubelev, and it's something that you should keep in your heart and in your mouth. So this comes to show, as we find many times, that even though things seem to be obvious, there is tremendous value in repetition, in reviewing over and over. That's a way for you to be able to retain the knowledge that you have. And this is the strategy in the Talmud, as we find in many places, the importance of not just learning and saying, I read this book, I covered this text, but to constantly review it. In fact, on the same page, we said the words Hadron Allah Oral. Whenever we finish a chapter, we say, we will return to you. We immediately say that we will go back to you. We always are thinking about how we can review, because by studying and reviewing over and over, even things that you seemingly know already, that just concretizes the knowledge that you have. In order this way, you'll be able to retain it for a long period of time.